up, guys? Welcome back to yet another video here of House Divided. We got week one
Yeah, we're
this
getting
time,
into
man.
the real action this
Yeah.
time. No more
Hey, week zero was cool, man, but
It's a good little teaser.
this is
now,
what
we're in the
we've been
big
waiting
deals.
for. Drop in the comments the game you're most excited to watch. I'll say mine later in the video. I think everyone has the same one, but there's a bunch of ranked matchups this week. One of the better week ones in recent memory. Let's go straight into it to the recap of week zero. Iowa State, Kansas State. What are your thoughts, man? You were high on the Wildcats.
I was high on Kansas State. I was disappointed. I thought they were able to win it at the end, and then they led the game-winning drive, and Iowa State ended up winning. I really didn't see the growth I was hoping for from Johnson. I didn't really see much growth from this team, especially with the way Iowa State was coming in. They lost two starting offensive linemen to the draft last year, too. There's two starting big wide receivers to the draft, and they'd lost their starting guard, forcing them to play their center at guard, and that was still not enough for Kansas State to be able to overcome it. This is a conference game, one of their toughest conference opponents, so it definitely is concerning. It's obviously week zero, so you don't want to take it too heavy, but it's a concerning look for them.
Yeah, I think for me the difference in that game was in the second half, Iowa State came out and was able to run the ball.
Yeah.
We saw both teams struggling in the first half to do that, and then Iowa State really in the second half set the tone and ran the ball way more than they threw it. And to me, that was the difference in the game and led them to the W. I think Kansas State does look like a good team, but Iowa State kind of exceeded expectations as well. Obviously, I think Kansas State also didn't bring their A game. But yeah, it was a great game. That leads us straight into our bets. Obviously, Kansas State losing led your bet to lose. Unfortunately, mine was an inch away.
Yeah.
Also, early in the game, a bunch of turnovers in the goal line.
Disaster.
That's what you call unlucky bet.
It was that Irish weather, man.
Yeah, it was. I didn't have the luck of the Irish, I guess, man. But unfortunate. But speaking of bets, we have started 0-2 this season. But we decided for your 21st, we are going to Las Vegas in 2 weeks from now. We decided to hold ourselves accountable for every loss until then. So it'd be the first 3 weeks of college football and 2 NFL weeks. Every loss, we're going to add $5 to at the end of that trip. We're going to put on either red or black. Are you a red guy or a black guy? We have to.
I like red.
I like red as well. Yeah. I was thinking red as well. But yeah, to kind of hold us accountable, hey, we can end up losing double or we can end up making the money back as well. So, big risk, high reward. But yeah,
our style.
That's enough with the bets. We'll go into the ones we have for week one here at the end of the episode. But let's break down these games, man. There's football
starting
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, man. Yeah.
All right, we'll start with the Friday night lights. We got a fierce battle between the Tigers and the Bears, two big animals. What's your preview for the showdown in Waco?
I think to me it's going to be continuity versus new faces. I think obviously Baylor returning a great offense from last year. I think they were 19th in the country last year, which is kind of shocking considering they didn't have the greatest season, but I'll speak on that in a little bit, and then Jackson Arnold coming in and taking the helm at Auburn with Cam Coleman, who probably top 5 talent receiver in the country. So I think it'll be really interesting to watch. I think Baylor, I want to see if their defense improved from last year. They were absolutely atrocious. And then Auburn had a decent defense. They returned a lot of continuity on that side of the ball. And I think it'll be a great game. I do have Auburn taking the edge on this. I'd really like Jackson Arnold and what he brings. Obviously has some experience at Oklahoma, even though he did end up getting benched. But I think it is experience nonetheless. And I think at the end of the day, I trust the trenches from Auburn a little bit more than Baylor. And I like this Auburn team to come. And I wouldn't say it's not their favorite, so it's not an upset, but really cementing a good win at Baylor.
Yeah, I agree with most of you said. The one thing that really moves the needle for me a little is I think one of the biggest gaps in positions to me is I think Sawyer Robertson is a good amount better than Jackson Arnold. That to me is going to make it a lot closer of a game than some people, a lot of SEC faithful think it's going to be. and I could see Baylor really putting off the upset here. Even though I do favor, if I had to pick the game, I'd go Auburn, just because of how strong the team really is, and especially that receiving core I think is incredible. Not just Coleman, Singleton as well. Uh, so because of that, I do think Auburn's ready and they're primed to win this game. But I think it'll be a strong game, and I don't think it'll be. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Baylor win.
Yeah, I mean, if Auburn loses this game, sound the alarm bells early in the season, man, because
Exactly.
it just sets up really bad for the rest of the season.
I mean,
and
I
the
could
schedule.
see. I could see if I think Deuce Knight's going to be really good. So if he comes in, they could have a kind of turnaround, Lagway-esque to last year. What we've had that were some freshman QBs come around, turn the season around.
Mm-hmm.
So that could happen if they do lose this weekend.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great game. Solo Friday. I mean, bunch of games on Friday, but kind of solo standout game.
Yeah.
There on Friday, so all eyes will be on that game, especially for anticipation for Saturday. Moving on here, you spoke about it. Someone trying to make a turnaround here. A team that is trying to make an ultimate turnaround. The Florida State Seminoles. They went from the national champions to I don't know, what was it, 3-9, 4-9, whatever it was, man. They got Alabama coming in for the biggest game they've had in Florida State in a while. What are your thoughts on that game?
I like Alabama a lot this game. Ty Simpson's obviously going to be a fifth-year QB getting his first chance. That's going to be a really solid veteran QB who I think is going to be able to dissect a strong Florida State defense pretty well. Another team that, even though they had a 9-3 year last year, they kind of do need to turn around in the Crimson Tide. I think they're going to start off the year strong, at least in this big game. I think they're going to show out. This is obviously Kalen DeWar is going to be able to plan this game out really well, game plan it really well, and I think they're going to come out right out the gate and punch Florida State in the mouth.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think this is going to be very close. I think that 14 spread is about right. I like you said, Ty Simpson's going to be interesting to see. But I think he's kind of more like the quarterback that Kalen DeBoer likes. Sit in the pocket, Michael Penix type player. Exactly. Just find receivers, let it develop, sit in the pocket. Obviously, Milroe was a great talent, but it was a different quarterback than DeBoer's used to. So I think he'll kind of get his offense cooking more. And I think Ryan Williams will have a massive, massive game. And I do see the Tide winning by 2 to 3 touchdowns here.
I agree.
And I think Florida State's going to have some flashes, but it's still going to be like what happened. And
plus, let's not pretend like this Alabama team isn't insanely talented at almost every position.
5 stars.
And including quarterback Ty Simpson, a former 5-star himself.
Yeah. So, I think also this Ty Simpson reminds me of Lil Mac Jones. Sat for a while and kind of came in and took over. And, I mean, Heisman finalist, national champion. I mean, he had Devontae Smith, but, this guy has Ryan Williams. So, I mean, another skinny Batman. But
he's skinny Robin.
I think this game we'll just want to watch out how this new look offense looks and see how it's shaping out for Bama in the upcoming season. Moving on to Bama's rival here after the Nico drama the whole offseason. Do you think Tennessee will show domination at home against Syracuse in this first game?
I don't think they're going to show domination. I think they're going to win. I think Joey Aguilar is going to have a fine game, not like anything crazy. I am a big fan of, or not a big fan, but I do like Angeli. I think he's a decent option at Syracuse, and he's going to be able to have a good team. I think they'll be similar enough to what they were with McCourt a year ago, and they're going to be able to give Tennessee a good enough fight, keep it maybe within a touchdown for a good amount of it. So I don't think Tennessee's going to show out that they're this all-star competing for the SEC kind of team, but they're going to be good enough. I
think I agree with kind of what you said. I think this game is going to be a little concerning. The offense might not look as good because they're playing a pretty good defense or a team on that level. They're not playing an FCS team, which could help them get their offense intact. I think they'll struggle early on, maybe find some plays here in the second half. I think what I want to see is if this Tennessee defense from last year is as good as it was last year, because that's what, Nico did great last year, but that's what carried them last year. So I think that's what's important here. I want to see that defense shut down not SEC level offense, but power
Power
forward
four.
level offense, see how they do. And I mean,
McCord led the league in passing
yeah,
in that offense last
yeah.
year. So
And I mean,
a little more
Syracuse
boost
the
to shut
last
that
two
down.
to 3 years has always shocked people and
Yeah.
played teams a lot closer than we
Yeah.
think. I think that 14 may be a little steep. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee wins around that range. Uh, but I think it'll be a very defensive bout, especially in that first half. Um, just out of curiosity, I know you said Tennessee wasn't high on your list. Do you have them probably top what in the conference?
Top what in the conference? Let's see. I got Texas 1, Georgia 2, LSU's 3 for me. Probably followed by Alabama 4, so maybe around 5, 6, that
Yeah,
range.
I think I'll have them 6, 7. I
Yeah.
think I'll have. Did not mean to do that on purpose, but I think I have South Carolina also
South
ahead
Carolina
of them,
is also
and
above
then
them
you
there,
have like
100%.
A&M
I
and
have
Ole
South Carolina
Miss
above Alabama.
in the same range with Tennessee.
Yeah, I blanked South Carolina. I have South Carolina above Alabama as well this year. I really like them.
I will say, I mean, last year Tennessee, I mean, didn't shock us by beating NC State, but the way they did, I mean, they could be that type of game as well this year.
Possible.
But I think also Tennessee has a really good chance to start off really strong and get a lot of national attention by taking care of business with these 2 games, and then week 3 playing Georgia at home, which I think is a very winnable game. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of unknowns with Tennessee. I think it'll be a week by week basis. See how that offense is looking.
See how they build. Yeah.
All right. What we got after this? Oh, this is my segment, guys. Obviously,
we'll let you take it.
A&M doesn't have a great game week 1. UTSA, hey, your old alma mater for a year. But not a great game, so I'll give us a little breakdown as what I'm looking for this season and maybe specifically this game. I'm looking at our secondary. I think obviously our weakness these last couple of years, we were just getting torched, and especially if we want to kind of put our name in the hat in the conference, we have to improve our pass defense.
Yeah.
That mostly our secondary, obviously our pass rush as well, because obviously that kind of goes hand in hand. But I think definitely secondary, especially with these talented receivers in the conference and quarterbacks coming in. And then kind of going with the pass rush, it always seems we always have studs on that line. Early in the season, it looks like, oh, Texas A&M might have the best D-line in the country. And then they disappear in the second half of the season, kind of like our team. So I'm also looking at consistency throughout the season with that D-line, pressuring QBs, forcing turnovers, sacks, obviously. And then on the offense side of the ball, I'm just looking at one man and one man only. I think our O-line, returning a lot of good pieces, I think will be pretty good and improved. But I'm looking at, obviously, the man himself, Marcel Reed. I'm looking at him, especially this first game, staying more in the pocket and delivering those throws more confident. And, I mean, yeah, he has that scramble ability, and it is a weapon, but not rely on it for every play. Rely on his throwing and his decision-making to find our new weapon in KC and all those other guys, or our A&M receivers that have been recreating the iconic photos. Find those guys as well.
Find those guys out there.
Yeah, I forgot. I know one of them's Watson, but I don't know the rest because I see his jersey. But that's what I'm looking for from my Aggies. Hopefully, we can have another solid 8-4 season here and call it a year, man. Yeah. Obviously, a little tougher because all these teams we played at home, we now play away, so don't have high expectations, but hopefully they prove me wrong. All right, moving on here to, we're kind of flip-flopping. We're saving some games till the end, but a Sunday afternoon game, the Beamer Bowl, Shane Beamer in South Carolina go against his dad's old team, Virginia Tech. What are your thoughts on this game?
I think the line is not my favorite. 7.5. I think South Carolina can run this game.
Yeah, it's kind of when I looked at it, it also confused me a little bit. Yeah. That's why I'm staying away from it. But
so I think this is going to be a showcase. You mentioned the NC State game for Tennessee last year. I think this can be that
could be, man.
For South Carolina. I think it's time for Sellers to show off, for Harbor to show off, for the defense to show off, for Beamer really to show off and make a statement of what South Carolina is going to be this year.
Yeah, I think. Like I said, what I'm looking for, especially from Sellers, kind of with the Marcel Reed aspect, just be more confident,
Yeah.
minimize those mistakes. He had some fumbling issues, especially in big games. So kind of see him secure the ball a little bit better and kind of be more confident in his throws and find his receivers. And then on the defense, see that, I mean, they're sophomores now, but Dylan Stewart and just feast and take over that game because this is the type of game he can just wreck.
Yeah.
And I think if he does that, it'll be way more than that 7.5 points. But is it, I may be wrong, is it at South Carolina or is it at Virginia Tech?
That's a good question.
Actually, or it might be neutral. Let me look it up.
It's at Shane Beamer's house.
It is. It's at South Carolina. Oh wait, no, it's neutral. It's in Atlanta. Yeah. So I was gonna say he can set a statement at his father's house, but
no.
But
he
can't. He can show off to B. John and Michael Penix and the boys. You
know? The Falcons.
Yeah, all those guys. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll. I think a lot of people have a lot of high expectations South Carolina, so it'll be good to see them come out and with a strong win and a dominating win.
Exactly.
All right, what we got next here, man?
Notre Dame, Miami.
Yeah, we got a little Sunday night football for college.
Football.
Yeah.
Carson Beck's Miami versus one of the most experienced quarterbacks versus a QB with no experience, C.J. Carr, taking the reins at Notre Dame, a legacy grandson of Michigan's Coach Carr. Won the national championship in the 90s, obviously, with Brady. It's going to be, we'll see if he lives up to the legacy over at South Bend. I think this is a game where Miami needs to be the one to make a statement. Obviously, with the youth leading a QB, that's not something maybe week one against such a strong team is not necessarily the one where Notre Dame needs to make such a strong statement, even though I think they might. I think this is the one where they really need to cement how good of an offense they're going to be because that's what's going to lead their team this year. Obviously, you want to see improvements from the defense, and you have a good opportunity to do that against young QB and C.J. Carr. And then for Notre Dame, I want to see you lean on Jeremiah Love. I want you to make the offense as easy as possible for that young quarterback, but also explore. This is a typically weaker defense you're facing, so exploit the weaknesses and really try to see if you can help Carr develop this game. I think those are the most important takeaways. And it's also a really interesting challenge for that defense, who's lost some pieces since the championship run a year ago, to face what should be a very good offense.
Yeah, I mean, before I start, who you got winning this game, man?
I do think that Notre Dame eventually will come out, but it'll be very, very close.
I think it could go two ways. It could be a shootout, or it could be like a 40-40 something, or it could be like a 10-17 game. No, like mid-30s. I don't know why. I just got that feeling. I know Miami's defense is not the best, but it has that feel type of game where Notre Dame just can't seem to move the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you broke it down perfectly. I think we need to see if Carson Beck is the Carson Beck we saw at Georgia last year or 2 years ago. And, I mean, he'll have a lot of weapons at his disposal, and he'll have a great coach who Cam Ward was already great coming in, but unlocked Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a high-powered passing offense. It'll be interesting to see if they can kind of balance it more out with the run game this year. Obviously, they had games where they kind of balanced it out, but I mean, as a whole in the season. And then moving on to Notre Dame, I do think this is where they can make a statement win and kind of basically almost punch their ticket to the playoff. I think something I will be interested in is seeing this Miami crowd, seeing if they actually show up this time, seeing if they get a great game coming in, a big brand like Notre Dame, see if they can actually show up for their team. I know they show up in sections. It's like section 135 is full, and then it's like section 138 is full, and then there's gaps. So I'll be interested to see in that, but I doubt it. But yeah, I think it'll be a great game, a great solo game there on Sunday. Kind of no NFL yet, so will be enjoyable. Kind of post sleep right there before school and work. So I think it'll be good, man. Moving on right back to the Saturday games, the two big ones.
The
You're like,
biggest
oh,
one.
did you guys forget it? Like, oh, no, we didn't. Moving on here, who is the real Death Valley? That's what we're trying to find out. Clemson versus LSU. Two great offenses, two great quarterback, one great coach. What are your thoughts, man?
I think the streak continues for Brian Kelly. Um, Overall, I think it's very. We might be seeing the two best quarterbacks in college football play week one. I give the slight edge to Cade Klubnik. Uh, Defensively, I think Clemson is undoubtedly stronger. Obviously, the questions then come into positions like receivers and the offensive line. That's why I think the strongest debate is for who's better. But I think and obviously quarterback. But I've already just mentioned that I lean Klubnik. Uh, I think Clemson can be over. I think that defense can be able to shut down uh, that. It's going to be able to shut down that LSU offense in a moment where LSU's won't be able to shut down Clemson's. I think is what it's going to come down to. I think this is one of those. It's going to be low scoring all game long. They might be at like 9-10 will be the score heading into halfway through the third, fourth quarter. And then we might get 2 touchdowns from each team or some touchdown or field goal from each team. And final score is going to be like 23-24.
I think it's kind of the the LSU USC game last year where it was like surprisingly super low scoring, and then fourth quarter it just took off. And I think I kind of see that happening. I could also see a massive shootout where, but I mean, super talented offenses. So, but I also like Clemson here as well, not only because of home field advantage. I think I like Cade Klubnik. I like his weapons. Antonio Williams coming back. He was his favorite target right there in the red zone. And then Wesco as well. I think they'll be pretty hard to contain, especially by that LSU defense that has struggled these last couple of years. I do think they will be slightly improved, but nothing crazy. We'll see if Wicks can get his team together. And
there's now a third Weeks brother on the LSU team, man.
What's this guy's name?
I don't, but I
know
Whit Weeks is the best one. West Weeks is
and I don't know the new one.
And then there's the new one.
Yeah. And then something that'll be interesting. Harold Perkins is back. I think that's a big obviously big addition. See if he can disrupt Cade a little bit, throw the offense off its funk. But yeah, I think Clemson's D-line is going to get to Garrett a little bit, kind of throw him off his game a bit. I think he'll have a great game as well. I think it'll be low turnover, but a lot of punts early on. And I do favor Clemson and Cade. I think Dabo will have his boys more ready than Brian Kelly. And then, I mean, we've seen LSU, these tough early season matchups fall short. And I think it'll be a close game, but I think they will fall short yet again. And then people are going to start questioning Brian Kelly, and they'll go on a winning streak for a bit.
Yeah, that's what I see for LSU season as well. I have them in we've mentioned previous. I have them in the playoffs. I have them as one of the strongest SEC teams due to their schedule as well. But I do think this is a game they lose.
Yeah.
Not even because of the streak. I just think they're not as good a team as Clemson right now.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Clemson, obviously, we saw them struggle. Was it last season played Georgia too? Or was it
they were
last
beat
season
bad by Georgia,
yeah,
34-3
so,
or something like that.
I mean, we saw, obviously, they redeemed themselves by playing at Texas pretty close at the end. So I think it'll be interesting to see Cade play another tough opponent. Not as strong defenses as those two, obviously, but we'll see how he does. I think he'll be pretty okay, to be honest, or pretty good.
This might be what they need, not a defense that can shut him down.
Yeah.
But I think they can shoot out better than if they're shut down.
Definitely. And I think it'll be great coverage. I think running down the hill is going to be really cool, especially in that moment. I think it's the biggest game in Clemson in a while. Out of conference, especially, but like at Clemson.
At Clemson.
Yeah. But moving on to, I'll let you take the lead on this one. You want to hype it up a little bit?
Yeah. The greatest game ever in the history of the world, not the history of the world, the history of Week 1, even though we were robbed. Number 1 Texas goes into Ohio State, who was somehow number 3. We were robbed there. Should have been the first ever game between 1 and 2 opening week, but it's 1 versus 3. Texas looks to topple the national champion. for the second year in a row, as in last year, they marched into Ann Arbor and beat down the Michigan Wolverines. This time they will do that to their biggest rival, the Ohio State Buckeyes,
Who took him out last year?
who
Also
took
to
him
point
out
out.
last year on a fumble to Quinn Ewers. But this time we have the prince who's promised, the prince, the heir of the royal family of football, Arch Manning. Uh, like last year, you have an inexperienced quarterback. Julian Sane is playing like Davis Warren a year ago.
I will
Uh,
say this guy's way more talented
way more time.
than the other
One
guy.
was a walk-on, the other was the
And
top
has way
quarterback in the
more
country.
weapons. But yeah,
One
no,
has way
still
more.
inexperienced,
Yeah,
say the
still
least. Yeah.
inexperienced. We all saw the Colin Simmons story in the interview, and he's just excited they named a QB, so he knows who he's going to sack. Um, Overall, I think if the story fits the narrative, but if you ignore the narrative, because this is not wrestling, this is football, you can see that. Look at the matchup. Quarterback, I'm going Texas here. I think they're stronger. Arch has a little more experience, and I feel he was a higher rated recruit. He's had more time to develop in an offense like Texas's, and he's been Sark's guy, while Sayin was a little more focused on a competition. Keinholz was obviously there. St. Clair, the freshman's obviously there. I think wide receivers closer than most people would like to admit. Mostly they feel like it's blatantly to Ohio State because of Jeremiah Smith. I do think the edge might be because of a Jeremiah Smith go to Ohio State, but it's a lot closer than people think. I think Ryan Wingo is really going to turn heads this year and cement himself. I think by the time these receivers enter the draft, Ryan Wingo will be on a tier with Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. That's a bold claim for the 2027 NFL draft. You heard it here first. Uh, Offensive line, another one. Both teams lost pieces, very important pieces. Texas obviously has to replace 4 starters, but I've mentioned how I think they have three really that are basically starters. Obviously, DJ Campbell, who's the starter returning. Cole Hudson, who's played in over 30 football games for the Texas Longhorns, who's starting at center, replacing Jake Majors, is basically a starter. And Trevor Gooseby, who started games last year in place of Kelvin Banks, who did not miss a beat when he went in. That's 3 real starters, and we've obviously had a competition on the other side, and the right side of the offensive line is going to be somewhere more to concern about. But I think it definitely makes up enough to consider a stronger offensive line than Ohio State's. Running backs, they lost Henderson and Judkins. Both of the running backs this year are going to be unproven in Peoples. Uh, and then Texas gets Baxter back, who was obviously a huge loss last year. Wiseman
Yeah.
obviously stepped
No,
up and was
Texas
great.
clears the running back.
And then I think Texas has the best defensive line in the country.
Yeah.
Obviously, returned Colin Simmons and Trey Moore.
Ethan Burke.
But Ethan Burke,
Yeah.
Westlake guy, I blocked him. He was impossible to block. We brought in so many. We have, in my opinion, the best defensive tackle room in the country, as we've had for maybe 2 years in a row now, with Sweat and then with Broughton a year ago and all those
And
guys and Murphy.
Arguably the best defensive player in the country in Hill.
Anthony Hill, he's going to have 110 plus tackles again this year as he did last year. Liafu, another player, middle linebacker, I think gives us a vastly superior middle linebacker room than Ohio State's. Secondary, I think, is a closer debate. I think we have Malik Muhammad and Michael Taft, which is, I think, a bit stronger. I'm also a big fan of Kobe Black. I think can be really step up. Obviously, there's the elephant in the room that the best DB in the country is Caleb Downs. So I think it's a similar situation to the receiver situation. But that's just a breakdown of. I'll give him the edge on kicker. We have never seen a kicker play. We have a new kicker.
Hey, it's better than
Exactly.
Bert.
Exactly. It's better than Burt, but he's never suited up for the Texas Longhorns until come Saturday. So I'll give him the edge on kicker for now. I bet this guy's he's gonna show out. I have faith in our new kicker, but
I think he'll be used a lot. I'll be honest.
Yeah. But I do think this is going to be an NFL style game. This is going to be one of those rugged, hard college football games, or this isn't going to be a shootout either. This is going to be a balanced game where both teams will use the pass and the run, as both teams I think are strong enough. And I also think both defenses are going to be strong enough. It's going to be a 27-23, 27-24 kind of game where we're probably in the teens by the time we're in the fourth quarter, and that's when the scoring kind of comes up because teams have to really get into hurry mode. I think we're looking at Arch having a great game. I think he's really going to be able to, because I think Texas is going to want to start off running like they have in multiple games and kind of struggle with the run a little bit early, turn to the pass and balance the game out. And that's when the run game really gets going. But I think Arch is really going to be able to have a good game. I think he's going to have 250 plus yards, at least 2 touchdowns through the air. Uh, and then, yeah, I think it's also going to be a great game defensively. I really love the fact that we're facing off Zion in his first start. So I think I think we're going to be able to see those D linemen rush really, really well. And for my final score prediction, I'm going to go Texas 27, Ohio State 20.
20. Okay. All right, man. Um, that was a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Hey, it's passionate.
It's passion, man. You
But
snuck in an A&M game.
hey, man, I had to include them somehow.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
we know our schools.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think you summarized it pretty well. I do kind of agree with the position groups given the advantage. I do think Ohio State, because of Jeremiah Smith, not clears, but it's better in that aspect. I think to me, it'll be interesting if Texas takes the approach like they did in the semifinals of bracketing Jeremiah Smith. I think if they do that, I'm not saying it's bad or good. I think the X factor once again is going to be Carnell Tate. I think he could have a big game if they obviously do end up doing that. If they don't, I think he can still have a big game. I do think Sayan's going to struggle a little bit. I think obviously playing a top 3 or arguably number 1 defense in the country. First game, it's not a good start. He obviously has the comfort of the fans being behind him, but still not an ideal situation. I think, what was I going to say? Dang, my thought just left my mind. But yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. I do think it's going to be a great defensive battle. Arch obviously had some reps, but 2 kind of new look offenses, except the running backs for Texas there. And I think 2 of the best defenses in the country is going to lead to a very low-scoring, very ugly game. But I think it's going to be great defensive football played, and it's going to come down to who makes less mistakes. And to me, I think Arch is going to make less mistakes. I don't think he's going to have the big stat game. I think he's going to have a great game just managing the game and making the right plays at the right time. And I do think Texas will win in a close, low-scoring game, maybe 24-20, 24-17, kind of like that. I do think Texas comes in and makes the biggest statement win we've seen in a while. But moving on straight into our best bets, man. You a little shocked I picked Texas there?
No, not at all. Not at all in the slightest.
Okay, no. You had a face. I thought you were shocked that I picked them, man.
No.
We'll go into your best bets, man. Roll them down if you want to explain them a little bit, and then kind of fire them off.
I just said Texas is going to win by 7, so I think Texas plus 1.5 explains itself. I mentioned it a little. I touched on it. I have Arch over 235.5 passing yards. A little context. Let's look at the last couple Texas games, including the Ohio State game. Quinn Ewers threw for, I think it was around 290 yards. Then the games before that, they were 300-plus passing yards in both of those games in the playoffs. So that shows what they want to do in big games. They were 300-plus yards. I think they torched Georgia for over 350 yards through the air when they played them in the SEC championship, which I think is a very, very strong defense.
The thing with Texas also, it's not only just 10-yard passes. They do a lot of screens. As a run game. So
and look at those 2 running backs. Those are 2 running backs that can get you a lot of yards.
Receivers too.
And the receivers, exactly. Speedster. Yeah. DeAndre Moore is a very reliable guy.
Especially if early on they're struggling to get open, they'll throw some screens there too.
Yeah, so that was also with Quinn Ewers at the helm, and I think Arch is a better deep passer and a more dynamic passer. So I think that's going to really allow him. And I think it's going to be a game that's close, and they're going to need to be throwing the ball at a lot of moments. So I do think this is going to be the chance for him to really get over 230 yards, which I think is a free gimme. I think if the line was at 250, you'd debate it a little bit more, but I'd still even take it at 250. So I think he's going to be closer to the 270 range. Mm-hmm. So I really like hitting the over on Arch over 235.5 is the line. Then on the inverse, I actually have Garrett Nassmeyer going under 290.5 passing yards. I think this is, we've mentioned, I think it's going to be kind of the ugly defensive kind of game. maybe until the fourth quarter, but I think they're going to need to overcome the defensive line, and I think they're going to do that with ways that don't necessarily mean big plays, big yards. So I think, and early struggles for Garrett Nussmeier overall in a game where I think they're going to lose. I think that means he has under two. I think he's also around that 270, 260 yard range, but that means he's 30 yards short for me. So I really like that just because of how strong Clemson's defense is. And lastly, we also touched on it a little. I have Alabama minus 13.5. I don't really love this Florida State team at all. And while I don't have the biggest aspirations for Alabama come playoffs, I do think they're a way better team than Florida State. I think they're very strong, and I think Kalen DeBoer and this Crimson Tide team need to show out to start the year after the way last year ended in that embarrassing loss to Michigan. Frankly, that's what it was. So I think this is going to be a really good chance for them to show off and show out, and I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I honestly love all those bets. Garrett Nussmeier scares me a little bit because obviously they have the tools to do it.
That's the risky one.
Yeah, but I love all those bets. I
don't think he might go under the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I think this is the game.
Yeah. But I like that Bama one. I almost include that.
Yeah.
I did a little different one for that game. I'll explain. But just as always, I have more bets than him. I'm a little I like to have bets on all the good games, but sometimes I'm disciplined to stay away. But I mean, week 1, I really cut it, man. But first game Friday night, I got Auburn money line. We touched on it. I didn't lay the points because the money line's minus 135. So I was like, just in case there's a missed field goal here and there, don't want to risk it. I do think Auburn comes in and wins this game. So I am picking them to win that money line. And then moving on to Saturday morning, the big noon kickoff game. I do think Texas is going to win, but I'm not very as confident as you, so I didn't want to touch a side. I didn't want to bet on Ohio State either. So I am more confident in the game going under 47.5. The line started at 51. It's been moving way down, so I would get it now if you can.
My score prediction, I said exactly at 47. So.
And I think it's going to keep going down because I think everyone's on this under. I think it's what we're saying, man, 2 new look offenses versus elite experienced defenses. So I think it's going to go under. Moving on here to a little different game we will never speak about except the bet I'm giving out here is Ole Miss minus 35.5. I just think they always dominate the school they play week 1, and I think they'll blow them out in Oxford. Moving on. I got a little parlay action here, man. I got a little Clemson money line. I was scared to lay the 3.5, 4 points because I do think it'll be a very close game.
Closer. I saw the 4 and I didn't love that at all.
So that's why I did money line because I do think they'll win this game. And then I combine it to bring it down from minus 170, the money line, with Bama money line. Just a simple Alabama win, I think. I mean, I don't want to say it's guaranteed, but pretty much is. So I'm going to combine those two, bringing the parlay down to minus 125. So bringing that Clemson money line a little bit juiced down by adding Alabama money line, and that's why I did that. Moving on to the last game here on. Oh, actually, I forgot. I got Tennessee Syracuse under 51.5. Same thing as Texas. Started at 56. It's been going down. I still like it at this number. I do think the only issue is maybe Tennessee racks up points, but I don't see them putting up 35 plus. So I think they'll be around the 10-20 range, and Syracuse will be around the 10-7, 14 range. So I'm pretty confident this game should stay under that 51.5. And then moving on here, I got Georgia minus 39.5. I think they'll dominate Marshall. I saw a trend something about week 1 teams at home with 35 plus points spread in the Power 4 conference against other FBS teams are like 70% in week 1. So that's why I did Georgia and Ole Miss. But Ole Miss was more of a feeling. I think they'll blow Georgia State out. But now moving on to my last 2 bets. I got a late night if you want to stay up, if you're in Central East Coast. We got UCLA and Nico. Versus Utah. Great game. Late night slate if you're hanging out with the boys or whatever. I got UCLA plus 6.5, even though I do think Utah can come in and win this game. I do think UCLA keeps it close, and I think Nico has a good game and kind of puts UCLA a little back on the map since DKR. But I do think they will lose this game, but I think 6.5 is way too many points. And then moving on to my last one. I mean, we touched on it. Notre Dame. I think they're gonna win. I have them laying 2.5 points. Pretty simple. Maybe it scares me a little bit, like the other stuff, but I think Notre Dame is gonna win by 3 to 7 points. So I feel comfortable with that 2.5.
Perfect.
And then, all right, you want to rapid fire bets real quick?
Oh, just
Yeah.
I got Texas plus 1.5. Arch Manning over 235.5 passing yards. Garrett Nussmeier under 290.5 passing yards. And Alabama minus 13.5.
And then my end, I got Auburn money line. Ohio State versus Texas under 47.5. Ole Miss minus 35.5 points. Clemson and Bama money line parlay. UCLA plus 6.5 points. Notre Dame minus 2.5 points. Tennessee and Syracuse under 51.5 points. And then Georgia minus 39.5 points. And yeah, man. Probably if I have more losses, I'll end up putting more on red than him. But yeah.
Well, I'm going 4-0 this week, so.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, if you go undefeated, I'll put $20
All
on my red. If I go, you go $20 on your red. Dude, I have 7, 8.
We'll see.
All right, man. All right, man. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy this week 1. Great weekend, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy some football. And if you tail our bets, obviously make money. Thanks, guys.